Anal and anus.
That the anal cavity.
Yes.
Isn't there like a ring of muscle?
Yes.
A ring of muscle that's.
Yep.
That you cannot control it at all. You cannot control it. It will open when you need to excrete.
Yeah, I can.
And it also knows the difference between the excreted matter and fart.
Yeah. Can I also just add a little bit of knowledge to your knowledge that there are two valves in the anus. One of the valves you can't control, it's involuntary. But the other valve you can actually control, and when you control the other valve, you can override the other one, the involuntary one. For example, have you not ever felt like having a poo, say when you're out enjoying nature, and you think to yourself, gosh, there isn't a loo here, I might as well just try and keep it in?
Actually, no.
Oh, really? Okay, as you grow older, there will be times when you think, oh gosh, I need to have a poo. Then you think, oh no, I can actually hold it for a little bit longer. And when you decide to hold on to it for a little bit longer, it means that you are controlling that valve and saying, valve, do not open. You can only open when I'm sitting on the loo and I'm ready to excrete this poo.
You could have just said excrete this matter.
Okay, excrete this matter.
I'm really trying to.
Okay,
I'm
so.
really trying to.
Okay.
To avoid saying that word.
Okay, so let's just think about it as we have two valves in the anus. Okay, one is involuntary, you cannot control. The nervous system will just tell you it's time, and then you would feel like, oh gosh. And then the other one, you have some control over it. You can't obviously, refuse to poo for the rest of your life. That cannot happen. You will end up having a rectum that's expanded, and it might actually end up being impossible for you to poo.
Constipation.
Yeah, yes.
You could have just said you'd be constipated.
Okay, you'd be massively constipated. Yeah.
Yes, there are so many other ways
Okay.
to say it without using that word.
Okay. So you can control the other one for, you have some control. Let's just say some control. Until which, because the reason why I'm clarifying that you have some control, because it allows you, even say if you're sitting there and you think, gosh, I need the loo, you then have a few seconds to walk to the loo, don't you? Pull down your trousers, pull down your pants, sit on the loo, and then have a poo. You are not sitting there and thinking, gosh, I need to have a poo, and then you start pooing on yourself, do you? No, don't think about it literally. Just think about it in terms of its science. You don't just sit there and think, I need to have a poo and then have a poo, do you? You think, I need to have a poo. Stop. Let me go there and have a poo, right? So you have some control of when you actually want to poo. And obviously, when you sit on the loo, finally relief comes and the valves, the anal valves open, and finally your poo comes out.
Excreted.
Yeah. Oh. I keep forgetting that yellow is actually... And you are done. And that is your entire digestion process from the mouth to the anus. So the only things that we haven't really covered in today are what goes wrong, the diseases. But we already know that you can become constipated if you keep the poo inside. And sometimes... Yeah, and sometimes because fiber actually helps you to poo, if you eat too much fiber, You can have diarrhea.
Of course.
Yeah. And fiber as well can rob you of nutrients. Think of it as it's hungry as well. So if you have too much fiber, it can start to take away nutrients from you. And also, say if there is bacteria in the food, your tummy can become upset and you can have diarrhea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some diseases as well, for example, that affect the ileum. They cause diarrhea and they stop people absorbing nutrients. Things like Crohn's disease. You'll learn about these at some point. There are some diseases as well that affect the colon because some people strain too much when they go to have a poo. And obviously, all these organs do not like to be strained, and you can end up having ulcers. That is called ulcerative colitis. You don't need to remember the words now, but it's just to put the function together. And there are some diseases, of course, where the valves stop working. And
But that means they could stay closed. It's either they could stay closed or they could stay open.
yeah, so if you lose that
It
control,
would just.
yeah, so if you lose that control, you become incontinent. And usually a lot of old people, you are still young, you wouldn't understand this now, but when people become older, they lose that control over their valves. And they can poo themselves and they have to wear nappies. Babies as well. When you were a baby, not so long ago, 9 years ago, you were wearing nappies as well because you had no control over these valves and you just poo anytime, really.
You also did it when you were a baby.
Absolutely everyone, everyone when they were a baby wore diapers, and they had to, because they had no control over those valves, so stuff was just coming out. But it only becomes a disease or something that has gone wrong when you are in your old age, or even at any time really in your age, because think about when you're a baby, you have no control, then you gain control. Like, for example, you now have control, then later on in life you lose that control. So something has gone wrong there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because once at some point in time, the person had control. Now they've lost control. So something has gone wrong. So the only thing which I think might be important for you to know is what we use these things for. Have we mentioned that at all?
We mentioned that the microbes absorb fiber and stuff, and then it makes the vitamin B, vitamin K, and methane.
Yeah. I meant the fats, proteins, and starch.
What?
Do you know what we use the fats, protein, and sugar? You can say, okay, let's just go through it. We haven't mentioned it because we're going to mention it when we're obviously talking about it being absorbed. So, your fats can be used for, number one, energy.
Oh yeah. And if you eat too much fat, then you could go. Then they.
You are frozen, by the way.
That energy.
Sorry, if you eat too much fat, you are frozen completely.
Oh, I said, yeah, you can use you can use the fats for energy, but then if you eat too much fat, then they'll have to store the energy as
fat.
Yes.
Yeah, and people then balloon a bit, become a bit bigger. And fat as well.
I wouldn't say bigger, I would say more.
What is that? Well, isn't bigger? A good word. And then you can also use fat for exactly what you're saying, which can also be considered as insulation to keep you warm. And fat as well is used for repairing cells. Right?
Yep.
And then our sugar.
It can give you short bursts of energy.
Yes.
Short bursts.
Sugar into energy. Particularly the brain loves pure sugar, pure glucose. And you know the brain uses up the majority of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sugar goes into energy. And sugar as well can be converted to fat if you eat too much of it. So it can also be converted into fat. And of course, then, yes, Joe?
My tummy just rumbled.
Ooh, perhaps you're hungry. Let's wrap this up. Have you had your breakfast?
No, because I woke up too late.
Right. Were you not hungry then?
No.
Oh, okay. Then
Nav,
yes.
why does your tummy actually rumble?
Because if there's nothing and there's peristalsis, isn't it? So if there's nothing to move, then it's like you're moving air around. Because remember, things like all those movements are always happening in the background. So if there's, and remember we said food can remain in there for days, for hours. So some of the stuff that you ate last night is still moving through around your colon. But because you haven't eaten anything more, your tummy is pretty much empty. But perhaps there's a bit of water and some juices and some mucus there. And as peristalsis is happening, there's that rumbling.
Oh, I thought it was because they were getting ready for me to start eating. Like they were getting ready for the
food to come in.
The acid ready and everything ready.
But remember, we say things get secreted when there is food in there.
I know. I'm just saying when they were getting the acid ready
for the food to come in.
Yeah, for the food to come.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it as well. And then finally, proteins to repair cells. What was that? Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay, I think we'll probably stop there. Do you want to quickly just run through and then we'll stop so that you can have something to eat?
Okay. So we start with a lovely bowl of pasta.
Do you want to just quickly say to your mom, let me message your mom to say, can she start preparing your breakfast while you're doing this?
Okay, so first we started with some pasta. Oh.
Yeah?
So first we started with a bowl of pasta, which then the teeth chew, the teeth cut, tear and grind. In the tongue there's a muscle. We'll roll the food into a bolus. Then we'll go down the esophagus using peristalsis. Contract, relax. Contract, relax. So then there is and once the bolus is going down the esophagus, the epiglottis will close.
Ooh, you remember that?
Making sure that it does not go into the lungs, does not irritate you, and or the lungs. Then it will continue going down, down, and down until the other
valve. Remember, we said valve.
Yep, the other valve opens, letting the bolus in, then closes, opens, closes, opens, closes, and then the reason why it's opening and closing is to make sure that because if it just stayed open, then there's a chance the acid can start to go
Up, yeah.
up.
Mm-hmm.
So then once the food is in the stomach, it will start to churn the food, which is the technical.
Your father will prepare some food.
Okay, which is the technical process.
Uh-huh.
And then the acid will activate different enzymes. That's the chemical process, which so then it will start to break down the food. Break down the food.
Mm-hmm.
And get rid of any bacteria that might have come with the food.
Mm-hmm.
So then now it's not really